Jonathan Livingston Seagull was a delightful short story that became extremely popular amongst young adults in the 1970s. Jonathan Seagull isn't like the other gulls. He thinks there must be more to life than flying out every day to the fishing boats and fighting for scraps of food. Instead, he wants to learn to fly, to push the boundaries and really fly. Most girls don't bother to learn more than how to fly from shore to the fishing boats and back again. Their focus is on food. It's what they all do. But Jonathan's different, much to his parents' dismay, who urge him to be like the other gulls and fit in, to forget his crazy ideas. So Jonathan Livingston Seagull is lonely. He's different. And his attempts at flying higher, faster, better don't go well. He keeps crashing and crashing as he dares to defy the usual limitations. Thoughts of quitting come to mind as Jonathan Seagull tumbles down from the sky yet again. But then he has a moment of insight. There's a breakthrough. He finally manages to work out how to fly in ways that no other gull has ever managed to do. He's en route to discovering the freedom of flight to go anywhere. Back on shore, the elders of the flock are far from impressed, and Jonathan Seagull is made an outcast for his outrageous behaviour, for daring to be different. So Jonathan now spends his days alone, as an outcast. It's not the solitude that concerns him, but he's troubled that the other gulls didn't want to open their eyes and see what he'd discovered about flight. All by himself, he keeps on learning more and more what his wings can achieve. Time passes. Fletcher Seagull is young and a bit rebellious, also wanting to go beyond the normal limitations. Jonathan Livingston Seagull befriends him, sharing what he knows. Slowly, a few other gulls join them, all with the sense that there must be something more to life than fighting over scraps of food each day. A new beginning has begun. The flower power era of the late 1960s and early 1970s initially emerged from opposition to the Vietnam War. It grew into a counterculture movement, an attempt to break out of the usual supposed-to-be life, going against the dictates of the establishment. It was all mixed up with psychedelic drugs, the emergence of a more vibrant type of music, and greater sexual expression made possible by the birth control pill. The rallying cry was of love, peace and understanding. But the understanding proved to be limited, falling way short of the dream and what was necessary. Communes failed as emotional turmoil erupted. Hippies soon drifted back into mainstream society. Punk music gave the next generation of young people a more raw means of expressing their angst and confusion. Singer-songwriter Jackson Browne wrote lyrics that summed up the era. I want to know what became of the changes we waited for love to bring. Were they only the fitful dreams of some greater awakening? The Eagles sang, we thought we could change this world with words like love and freedom. A false dawn had come and gone, soon to be largely forgotten as rampant materialism took hold. It's undoubtedly healthy to want to go beyond, to find a better way. It's crazy to want to fit in, when normality is actually sanitised dysfunction, verging on madness. But the pressure to conform, to be part of a tribe or flock, is considerable. There isn't an obvious way to break free from the straitjacket. There's a lot of muddlement, as we've looked at in the earlier films of this series. As you grow up, there's no reliable textbook offering clear advice on how to think or make decisions. You grapple with bits and pieces of input from various sources, parents, siblings, friends, teachers and the media. But the information is often conflicting, confusing. Emotional flare-ups add to the difficulty of developing reliable thinking skills. We quoted Henry David Thoreau at the beginning of film 9. Do not worry if you have built your castles in the air. This is where they should be. Now put the foundations under them. What went wrong in the late 1960s, early 1970s was a lack of an exact, firm foundation. The spirit for a peaceful revolution was happening, but the all-important know-how was shockingly absent. And this also explains why the same old structures of society prevailed, pulling back in the hippies. The rat race, etc., might be exploitative and a dubious way of living, but its foundations are solid. It works and delivers, even if it's superficial in terms of meaning and purpose. The ability to link thoughts together, picture building, is one of our 16 key factors, and we'll be looking at this in detail when we get to film 26. It isn't systematically taught, yet we live in a complex world where the processing of information is crucial. Instead, people see what they want to see, hear what they want to hear, and even when there's a psychological drought happening, most don't want to drink, think, or link. A coherent bigger picture is lacking, with fragmentation the dominant position. Bias or prejudice is accepted as normal behaviour, apart from the socially unacceptable forms which are highlighted at the expense of all others. Individuals do it, organisations do it, governments do it. Consistency and credibility suffers. Respect is limited by this selective thinking. Individuals feel powerless in the face of such mass onslaught. If you can't beat them, join them seems the only reasonable option. This tendency to conform is made worse by the wish to be accepted. We are social animals. By fitting in, you're accepting what you're fitting into, becoming part of the problem. This is the danger of easy, that we talked about in the previous film. Only it's dysfunctional and problematic at the same time. This confusion and dilemma is used as yet another reason to avoid. Understanding is neglected. So you don't fit in. Great. That's a start. Now you need to walk in a different direction. The truth about social acceptance is that it's overrated. Yes, we might all like to be liked, but at what cost? Is the price too high when we end up failing to be our real selves? Isn't it just a waste of life? When you begin to break out, others around you will probably feel uncomfortable. You're rocking the proverbial boat, making them uneasy. They don't want to start questioning the norms. They want to stay in their comfortable routines. So they'll try to deter you from your new thinking, your new direction. And these are the individuals you care about. Although on this occasion, if you think about it, they're not exactly being caring in their intentions. They might try to make you feel guilty when you're no longer wanting to join in as much as before. It's displacement, because they're the ones actually feeling a bit guilty that they're not doing more. You're inadvertently pricking their conscience. Don't underestimate the power of conformity. If you start becoming more self-honest, for example, wanting to learn from your mistakes, others will instantly come up with excuses for you, trying to smooth it all over, effectively wanting to smother or extinguish your early signs of extra aliveness. It can all rapidly get somewhat confusing, just at the time when you're a beginner, with limited knowledge or understanding. If you're not careful, diligent, strong, you can be knocked off course before you've properly begun. You'll be sucked back in, fearful of becoming an outcast, worried of losing that cherished social acceptance. If you do give in, you'll be abandoning your highest thoughts, resigning yourself to the daily drudge around the fishing boats, settling for the scraps. If necessary, just hang on. Don't give in to the pressures around you. Understand that conformity won't significantly change or improve anything. And make sure you watch the next film in this series, which is about never giving up, as it will add to what I'm saying. I'll see you again soon.